I don't know why this isn't the lead on virtually every paper in the country. This is a reading here from the New York Post.
Recently on Megyn Kelly, she dives into a disturbing case that's being swept under the rug. 6 illegal immigrants are charged in the shocking murder of a black mother in South Carolina, and yet the media seems silent. Why is this tragedy not leading the news cycle? Let's break this down together.
Published this morning. The headline, 6 migrants charged in South Carolina mom's murder. Detailed their crime in eerie text messages. Just the beginning. 6 illegal immigrants. The headline says migrants. We're talking about illegals, 6 of them. Ages 13 through 21 have been charged in connection with the South Carolina mother's, quote, random murder earlier this month, and they allegedly texted each other about the crime afterward. The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office down there located the victim, Larisha Sherelle Thompson, 40 years old, deceased, with a gunshot wound behind the wheel of her vehicle in Lancaster, which is about an hour south of Charlotte, North Carolina. It happened on May 12th that they announced the arrest of, I'm not even going to try to say these names, but there was a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, and 3 juveniles, ages 13, 14, and 15, in connection with her death. Here are 3 of them. They're illegals. They are here unlawfully committing crimes against American mothers, including this 40-year-old. They said the 6th District Deputy Solicitor, Melissa McGinnis, again, quoting here from the Post, New York Post, said all 6 suspects charged admitted to robbing a car during a May 14th hearing, as first reported by the Rock Hill Herald. In text messages allegedly exchanged between them after the murder, they used phrases, mission fail, and this is just the beginning. The text messages have been cited in open court and cite a complete lack of remorse by the defendants, said the Attorney General Charlie Condon. The evidence indicates a premeditated plan. After the murder was accomplished, there was no remorse whatsoever or any regret expressed by any of them for murdering this innocent lady. So they killed her because, I don't know, if they wanted her car or they wanted what was in her car, and then they realized that the car was locked and seemed to be like, oh, shit, our plan went awry. Her car is locked. She's dead. And now we can't get what we want. The depravity is shocking. I mean, it's shocking. That's 6, not 1, not 2, not 6 individuals will partake in this crime, and not one of them seems even remotely remorseful.
This moment highlights a chilling detachment to violence, especially among those who commit heinous acts without a shred of remorse. It raises critical questions about accountability and the implications of illegal immigration on public safety.
And I'm telling you, Emily, if those were 6 white American boys, same decedent, this story would be everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. And the other part of this that's just, it makes me crazy is when the pro-immigrant groups, libertarian and left-wing, will always regurgitate, and this is disputed, but they will always regurgitate their research that migrants to the country commit crimes at lower levels than the domestic population. I don't even want to get into whether or not that point is true. The only response to that is like, let's take you at your word for it, immigration advocates, open borders advocates, say that is true. You are bringing in desperate people who are destitute, do not have a lot of money, and are trying to find new ways to have money to buy all kinds of different things they need to survive, whether it's food or whether it's drugs, by the way. And of course, every single act committed against an American citizen by somebody who is not supposed to be here is too damn many. So it doesn't even take you at your word for it. Why would we have enough problems? Why do we need to deal with more problems caused by people who do not need to be here?
The tension mounts as Megyn confronts the uncomfortable truth about how illegal immigration complicates the already pressing issues within our society. Are we ignoring the ramifications of unchecked immigration at the expense of innocent lives?
Who are desperate and are looking for different ways to survive because they don't have any money. I mean, it's just, and a lot of them are in debt to cartels. That's part of the last 5 years of mass immigration explosion is a lot of people come here, they pay cartels, or they go into debt for cartels and then are forced to do all kinds of stuff to get that money back to pay off their debt so their relatives at home aren't killed, so that something doesn't happen to them domestically. Just such an insane, I mean, it's so maddening what that woman's family is going through. She was on her way to a birthday party. What the community is going through. I mean, it's a disaster.
She has 2 children, 2 kids, Eliana, and these are 6 illegals from Honduras who were not only completely indifferent to the value of human life, but too fucking dumb to walk around the rest of us free and able to interact with us. They are accused of attempting to enter her vehicle and then fleeing the scene upon realizing it was locked. That's why they were texting, "Oh, mission fail." Okay, so a young woman is dead and bleeding out in front of us. And what a fail. We couldn't get her car after all, because I guess this is how the illegals roll in Honduras. I wouldn't know. It's not a country to which I'd like to visit. But they're running around amongst us. And now the ringleader, we find out, was previously arrested just in 2023 for domestic violence, which is another theme we see emerging around these illegals who do not have the same standard of care when it comes to human life as your average American does. And yet we're spending every day arguing about what kind of a hearing we need to give them before we kick their asses out of here.
Can I just point out one similarity between this case and the Solomon case? We don't know all the facts of that case yet, but he's actually been charged with 2 counts of murder, even though nobody died in Denver. And those 2 counts are now a mystery. So we may learn, although we don't know, that he too had a prior law enforcement record and was let go. We just don't know. But that's what I'm seeing in reports that say the reports also don't know what that's about. But Megyn, I think you're hitting on why illegal immigration and these deportations have been such a potent issue for the president, because Americans read about cases like this, and it's not, in this case, it's not 1 assailant, but 6 who are here illegally, and the feeling is just outrage. And when Democrats come with the fact that, well, actually, on average, illegal immigrants commit less crime than the average citizen, that just doesn't resonate as a counter argument, because the feeling is that any single act committed shouldn't have been, because these people shouldn't have been in the country in the first place. And it's why names like Laken Riley become famous from coast to coast in this country, and why the issue of immigration has become such a potent one for Donald Trump from 2016 through, we're going on almost a decade. 6 months, it'll be a decade. Because people
That's exactly
are
right. So I have got to play for you Chris Cuomo, who, I'm sorry, he's trying to reinvent himself as like a more reasonable alternative to what he used to be. He's the same. He's just trying to build an audience now with some occasional false moments of understanding the right wing. But this guy, I stood out there for President Trump and endorsed him the night before the election in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I said, because Trump was getting hit, because he said he would be a protector of women. And the Chris Cuomos of the world, his side of the aisle, jumped all over Trump, saying he was being somehow sexist in saying that, and bringing up his past history with women when it comes to affairs and alleged inappropriate exchanges sexually. And I stood up there and said what I believed, which was that he really would be a protector of women. And I mentioned Jocelyn Nungari, the little girl down in Texas, 12 years old, who was sexually assaulted and murdered by illegals. And I mentioned Laken Riley, and I said, among many other examples, that these are reasons I believe President Trump will protect young women. He won't allow the opening of the border and mass influx of dangerous illegals who will kill and rape the most vulnerable among us, our girls, our young, promising nursing students who only want to give back to communities like Laken. And You know what Chris Cuomo did that night? Not only did he not take the remarks, which went live on all the cable channels when I spoke at the Trump rally, he insisted News Nation not take the remarks, and then he mocked the remarks. He mocked them. He mocked me. Oh, I need President Trump to protect me, as though it was something about me, as opposed to a 12-year-old little girl who is dead in Texas, or a girl who was 22 years old in Georgia who was killed by an illegal who we already nabbed in New York and then released and then put on a federally taxpayer-funded plane down to Georgia where he could kill Laken Riley. And so I'm sick of this guy's bullshit. So Chris Cuomo goes on the air Thursday on his podcast, which literally nobody's listening to other than my producers, and says this about Laken Riley and illegal immigration.
Change how I feel about the parties. They are the problem. They are the root of this binary battle to the bottom. The division is almost exclusively manufactured. We are fighting over culture issues and controversies that are completely made up. We divide this country over a single homicide of somebody, and it's absolutely wrong. What happened to Laken Riley is horrible. It's one too many, any way you want to look at it. But it is also an artificial issue. We have crime issues in this country. Our homicide problem is not from illegal immigrants, okay? Yeah, but there shouldn't be any. There shouldn't be any of a lot of things that we haven't made a top priority. The division is manufactured.
Oh, go ahead, Emily.
But he can screw off because it's absolutely not fake. If you look at the numbers of people who cross into this country with criminal backgrounds that are not just people who have crossed the crime of crossing the country illegally and returning. If you look at people with histories of violent crime who have gotten into this country, there is plenty to sustain significant concern.
This statement delivers a powerful insight into the harsh reality of crime statistics that often go overlooked. It emphasizes the urgent need for a reevaluation of our immigration policies in light of public safety and justice for victims.
For that broader narrative that there are significant numbers of criminals who have entered our border. And if you talk to, by the way, people who work in law enforcement, it's sort of obvious, right, that the open borders have been exploited by people who wish to do terror, people who wish to do great harm to the American people. So there's an argument, right, that there are times that bad actors in the media will take an anecdote and blow it up into a national story. One example is when you poll people in the past, when people have been polled and said how many unarmed Black men are killed by police every year. Because of the media coverage, people will wildly overestimate the actual number. And so it's true that like media is very, very powerful. But this
on average,
is,
by the way, on average, it's under 12, according to the Washington Post running tally of it. It's 11, 12, maybe 15 at worst. And they include unarmed people who are running down a police officer in a car, people who have a gun in the glove compartment. You're still considered unarmed by the Washington Post numbers. But in any event, it's a minuscule number of unarmed Black men that are being shot by cops. Keep going.
Right. And the argument he's making is that people are blowing up isolated anecdotes into broader narratives. And in this case, to say that these are isolated anecdotes is absolutely insane. It's where you're actually going to get that number spiraling out of control because it falsely gives people a sense of security that they should not have, whether it's terrorism or robbery.
And the thing that's driving me nuts about it, I'll stay with you on this, Emily. The thing that's driving me fucking nuts about this point is there is no policy that allows cops to shoot unarmed Black men. This is not something that's being encouraged or blessed in any city in America. But there is a policy in multiple cities and states across America, it's called sanctuary, to allow illegals who commit additional crimes not to be turned over to the feds for deportation once they're in the crosshairs. And maybe that's what's happening, Eliana, to this guy, Solomon, whatever his name is, out in Colorado. Maybe that's why the two murders just popped up, because maybe he was arrested for something else and they didn't turn him over to the feds because they found he was an illegal and didn't want to see him deported by the big, bad, evil Trump administration. But this is what happened to Laken Riley, what happened to Jocelyn Nungari, what happened out in Colorado, what happened to this poor woman here, happened because of a policy that Joe Biden put in place and the Democrats universally want.
This case serves as a painful reminder of the consequences of policy failures and the media's role in shaping public discourse. The families affected by these tragedies deserve justice and recognition, not silence. It's time to hold our leaders accountable and demand better from our immigration system. What are your thoughts on this situation? Let us know in the comments below.